Kia ora Aotearoa. Welcome whānau to the War on News Awards 2011, your annual sacred cow-slaughtering assault on the bullshit that passes current affairs in this country, beamed live from the Palatial Stratus news bunker, buried deep beneath the heart of the Greyland Republic. Whānau, we revel in a year of media banality and political apathy as the country slowly faces the collapse of the entire neoliberal Washington consensus hegemonic structure with all the awareness of brain-dead coma patients. When I wasn't outing neo-Nazi founding members of the anti-MMP group and being banned from Radio New Zealand for criticising the Prime Minister this year, I was also hosting the only political show that called the election result for National and Labour, which as a commentator gives me bragging rights until the next election. And a year that saw the political end to Bin Laden, Gaddafi, Kim Jong-il, yet allowed John Banks back, we were reminded that there is no justice in the world. So without further ado, let's hand out this year's contempt masquerading as awards. The lidless eye of Mordor focused on the vacuous mainstream media award for hate crimes against public broadcasting goes to Close Up. It was a close run thing this year, folks. The other contender was the decision to close down TVNZ7 and haul it off to a shopping network, which is akin to using a cathedral as a brothel fronting for a meth lab. But beyond that hate crime against public broadcasting, Close Up's fetish with the banal. While the global economy heralds a second depression and inequality explodes in our country, is so jaw-dropping it demands the sort of special recognition only napalm can justify. Mark Sainsbury, the walrus of news, spent more time on the personal well-being of Happy Feet the fucking penguin than Close Up did on child poverty. The dumbing down of the news by fluffy animal stories is nothing new, but with a steep recession, people can't afford to be consumers and remember they are citizens. The media should be echoing that zeitgeist change rather than molesting it with infotainment the way our public broadcaster does. The media are so biased, John Key could eat a kitten live on Close Up, and the New Zealand Herald editorial will blame the kitten for being delicious award of the year for propaganda goes to David Farrar. The National Party hard right pretending to be light right National Party propagandist and pollster David Farrar, the boar of Babylon, the fallen one, he of the hooven foot, has to be this year's propagandist of choice for all occasions, from bar mitzvahs to military coups. That the New Zealand Herald allows a mouthpiece for the government to have unchallenged space on their website speaks volumes of the Herald's continual decline into Fox News-esque fair and balanced territory. Farrar peddles soft massaged message points handed to him by the National Party Death Star and tepidly articulates them the way a drunk child would. Poorly and without charm. That Farrar is the source of most political stories in the mainstream media is an indictment on our mainstream media. It's like asking Colonel Sanders how delicious his KFC is against any other deep fried chicken competitor. The George Orwell Big Brother is Watching You award for enacting a police state surely has to go to Simon Powell for ramming through the largest erosion of civil liberties with almost no debate whatsoever. We have lost the right to a jury trial for punishment between 3 months and 2 years in prison. Police can take DNA from you on mere suspicion, and retrospective law legalising illegal loopholes used by the police to break into private property and spy on us, caused because of their phenomenal cock-up over the Urewera terror raids. How the police and state have been handed so much unchecked power without a whimper from the media must be this year's entry for "you're fucking joking, right?" Why does the pork board need the power to spy on us in our homes? Who is a threat to the pork board? Vegetarians? The state should never award itself these powers, and to do so as a means to pardon the police force caught out using an illegal interpretation of search warrants to mean open-ended surveillance is something only America would try and pull off. The Don't Worry Be Happy award for most amount of Prozac injected in a 12-month calendar year has to go to the Treasury. The economy may well be burning, but no one seems to have told Treasury. Their ludicrously optimistic forecast for growth in this country would be hysterical if they weren't so woefully out. Always look on the bright side of life can't be an economic policy, yet Treasury seem to have made it so. The shove it under the carpet and don't look at it award has to go to child poverty. Under National, 150 of the richest families in New Zealand gained $7 billion in wealth, while 200,000 children lived in poverty. Our inequality rates have skyrocketed, and the simple fact is we don't really give a toss because most of them are beneficiary kids. Benny bashing is New Zealand's favourite hobby, next to rugby, alcoholism and domestic violence. We love to bash the dirty, filthy Benny. It's what separates us from educated folk. It costs $40 million per year fighting in an immoral war like Afghanistan, yet it would only cost $30 million per year to feed every poor kid in every poor school throughout the country. We live in a consumer culture where everyone thinks of themselves as a future millionaire, meaning we all side with rich people arguments about not taxing the rich because we imagine ourselves rich one day and don't want the government taxing our mythical millions we haven't created yet. Social justice is just a relic of the past, like universal suffrage or habeas corpus. The Swimming Against the Tide Award for counterproductive futility has to go to the privatisation agenda launched upon by National, where the only people who will afford to buy shares in assets we already own will be the top 10% John Key has already handed tax cuts out to. It won't be mum and dad investors in New Zealand who buy these shares, it will be mum and dad investors from overseas who will be buying up our shares. At a time when free market ideology has died a terrible, horrific death caused by its own venal greed, we are adopting even more free market dogma. It's like being the captain of the Titanic, ordering it to swing around and hit the iceberg again. The Japanese Nuclear Reactor Award for melting down goes to ACT. Oh God, wasn't it hideous? David Garrett forging dead baby certificates, Rodney Hyde and Roger Douglas using perks they once attacked, and then the corporate coup to take over ACT with Don Brash, a man so past his use-by date he makes month-old milk look tasty. The eventual meltdown with the Epsom Tea Party tapes produced a homophobic dinosaur like John Banks coming back from the political graveyard to feast on the fresh brains of Epsom voters. But it is in the death spasms we see a party so divided and spent they make used toilet paper preferable. And finally tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Sleepy Hobbits Have Spoken Award for political sadomasochism goes to the election of John Key. How a money trader peddling vacant aspiration has managed to make it so far in New Zealand politics is perhaps a signal that no one is paying attention anymore. Because invoking policy that only benefits those already wealthy to the detriment of the majority and getting away with it is surely this year's greatest scam. The election was one of the lowest turnouts in 120 years, which isn't surprising as almost everyone has left for Australia. John Key's love affair with the media was only ruined when he attacked the media during the election and had the police heavy them. So with that much uncritical coverage, I'm surprised John Key didn't win by 80%. That's it for 2011, folks. Don't forget to follow me on my Citizen Bomber Twitter and Facebook site. It has all the shows posted up online, allows you to befriend other like-minded citizens for romantic news moments. This is the final War on News for 2011. Thank you for being as mildly amused by the mediocrity that passes critical analysis in New Zealand as much as I am. Good night, New Zealand. You stay classy, Aotearoa. Righto.